Alan K. Patch, the best-selling author. Also, akpatchauthor.com is the official website.
There you are.
There we are. Patch, how are you, sir? Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Great to be back with you, Jiggy.
You have got a heck of a, I am so happy that we're talking about what we're talking about today instead of yesterday. So,
Yeah, a little different twist on it,
Yes.
I like to take sort of the historical things that happened in the past and kind of relate it to what's going on today. That's my shtick.
That's my shtick. That's awesome. Alan K. Patch with us today. He is fantastic, and he joins us today here on our big broadcast. And so the sans culottes. This is a heck of a topic today, considering what's been going on in the United States and around the world the last couple of days.
Yeah, well, the thing is we talked about this like 4 or 5 months ago during the summer.
Yes.
When all the riots and protests were going on. So, after yesterday, I say, we might as well talk about it.
We might as well talk about it again. Here we are again.
But we should talk about that. And here, are they back again? Here we are in the same situation. So, I'm going to talk about the mob violence and the intimidation of the radical revolutionaries during the French Revolution, and so that's what I'm going to talk about today.
So this is give us a little bit of a refresher course on this, my friend.
Well,
what were they exactly?
Let's try to simplify the French Revolution. Not easy to do, but I'm
yes,
going to try here.
Yes.
So, the common people of France by the late 1700s, were in a rough situation. There was famine, huge war debt because they supported us during our revolution and went into a huge amount of debt over that. There was mismanagement and corruption with the king and all the royals. And lack of representation in the government, and it drove the people to desperation. The street people, the people who lived and suffered, and they had feeble attempts to kind of alleviate these conditions. And finally, by 1789, it just burst out and it really exploded in society. And it was started by a group of people. At least one of the groups, one of the main ones, called the sans culottes, and the place was just ripe for trouble. France, they had seen what happened in our revolution, and they decided to take a situation into their own hands. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the sans culottes.
So comparing this to yesterday, what are your thoughts and feelings on this, my friend?
Well, a little different situation, of course, with the French Revolution yesterday. But yesterday, you have peaceful protests, which is fine. We saw a lot of that in the summertime, and that's perfectly legit. And it should stay peaceful. But always there's a small group of people who like to take it into their hands and start the violence and
yes,
looting, burning, whatever, and it comes to no good. And that's what's happened, and it's that mindset that we're going to talk about. We're going to explore what happened back then, see if we can draw any parallels.
So, what exactly happened with this sans culottes, and kind of compare it to today, my friend?
Well, this is what happened. The everyday people just attacked the nobility with a ferocity. They stormed the Bastille and took it. But the thing was they started with very legit reasons, but then it descended really into just mayhem. They decided that they would sort of take justice into their own hands, and they imprisoned, lots of people. They sentenced them to prison, to hanging, to murder, eventually the guillotine. Now, why do they call the sans culottes? Okay, let's talk about that. Because back then, if you remember pictures or movies, you see the nobility wearing breeches, these silk breeches,
yes,
called culottes. And so the sans-culottes means without culottes. So they weren't nobility, they were street people. And they had a specific kind of uniform they wore. All right. They wore long pants. They wore these red caps. They were called Phrygian caps with, the tip kind of tipped over and it was red and cloth. They had clog shoes. Imagine that, clog shoes. And these short coats. So you could identify them by their clothing. Were the truest of the revolutionaries, and a lot of people dressed like them to not be accused of being a counter-revolutionary. So they would say, the kind of things they would say and dress the way they dressed to not be accused of being a counter-revolutionary. And so as the revolution progressed and things got worse and more people got killed, then the sans-culottes became really an armed militia running around the city. And eventually that transformed into the Jacobins. You have transfers of power, and one group's in power at a certain amount of time, and then someone else takes over. And that's how really they got going.
Now, comparing it to yesterday, it seems like the sans-culottes, they didn't just wave a bunch of flags and storm some places. They they went on some much more damage than some of these folks did yesterday.
Oh yeah, yesterday it was there was damage, and that's the things that they did probably it's unlawful. The sans-culottes definitely took it into their own hands and started killing lots of people. I think the point to think about is that these things sometimes start somewhere. And, we're a nation of law and order. And so peaceful protest is fine, but these kind of violence that's coming out and destruction is not something that is helpful to our situation. You got to remember something, too, that a democracy, but really we're a constitutional republic, is a contest, right? We're still contesting, and we're doing that at all times. And so there's going to be friction. But generally, that friction is really lawful and orderly, and sometimes it breaks out into these kind of where things get very emotional and people take things into their hands and bring in a direction that brings these kind of violent acts, and that's not what this country is about.
So, Alan, as we wrap up here with you on this segment, my friend, give us an update on your books, because I know you've got a lot of great books out there.
Well, yeah, I've talked before on your shows about the trilogy I have, which is a time travel trilogy. Time travel adventure starts with Passage at Delphi, called the Apollo series, and that's on Amazon. That's for people who love history, don't mind a gritty sort of adventure. There's 3 books, and really it boils down to, it's kind of interesting to relate all these things, but really the whole reason for that series is there's a threat to the United States in the future, and that really is what drives the novel. It goes into the ancient past, it's involved in the near future and the present day, but that's really what the threat is. This new book is a paranormal thriller called The Catacombs Curse, won some awards recently, and that is a different kind of a story. It involves the Paris catacombs, and I went on a tour there and saw the catacombs and devised the story that starts at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. It's about a spirit from them who possesses a tourist in the modern day. And then it becomes a battle of, cultures and fortitude of these people to see who's going to be able to, to persevere.
Fantastic. Well,
also
Alan,
on Amazon, just go to Amazon, look up the Catacombs Curse, and you'll be able to find it.
Tremendous. Well, I appreciate you making time for us today. I definitely want to keep chatting with you as we do each and every week. And shoot me an email when you can, because I've got a couple shows that I want to get you connected with a couple different hosts that I work with. That
I'm always happy to talk with you or any of your friends, Jiggy, and you have a great listening audience, and I'm always happy to be on with you. And sure, I'll let me know, and I'll all can go off on any subject they want.
Well, that'll work. Well, I appreciate it, Alan. Have yourself a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, sir.
All right, Jiggy.
Appreciate it. There he goes, Alan K. Patch. We always love talking to Alan, and he is fantastic. And so we are going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we have got more.
Are you getting the most out of your Medicare plan? Are you sure? You'll want to write down a very